Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every other week we get together to talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanee Howard, and with me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Ryan Robinson.
What's up, homie Balonies?
I, I regret everything. So,
That's good.
what have y'all been playing?
Dude, so I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I feel like whatever I'm into at the time, I get too into it, you know?
That sounds fun.
So
though.
if it's fighting games, I gotta be playing all the fighting games, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like whatever it is. So I've been on this ARPG kick recently, and dude, I played through fucking Diablo 2, and then I played through Minecraft Dungeons, and then I finished off the Necromancer trophies for Diablo 3 because I never did that. And then I started another class in Warhammer Chaos Bane, and about 2 hours into that, I was like, I can't play this genre anymore. Not for a while at least, you know.
It's just too many guys.
Yeah, it's just too much of the same genre. Not to like Diablo Immortal was in there at some point, you know.
Yeah.
It's just too much of the same genre. So yeah, I put that down. So I've been trying to figure out what else I want to be playing right now. And of course, what?
I said I have a suggestion.
That game's not even out yet, Shanee. Shut up.
For the demo.
So trying to find a new game that I can really get into. So PlayStation Plus updated their subscription thing, I don't know, a day or two ago. And so I upgraded to the highest tier, right? I forget what it's called. But I'm like, okay, I'll upgrade for the month. I'll see if I like it, and then I'll go from there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and I'm downloading all these games that seemed interesting to me at one point. So I was like, well, they're free now, so I'll give them a shot, you know? So I played a couple hours of The Artful Escape. Because I remember when I saw the trailer for that game, I was like, oh, that looks badass, you know? And I thought it was going to be like a puzzle game. Or not a puzzle game, like a rhythm game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I found out pretty quickly that it's not that at all. It's a very simple 2D platformer with some Simon thrown in there, you know? It's cool though, it's fun, and I'm sure I'll finish it. It seems like it'll be brief.
Yeah.
It's a pretty game. I don't know how I feel about the story so far, but it seems okay,
What
you know?
What is the story?
So, you play as this kid whose whose uncle, rather, was, a huge celebrity folk singer, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
you're, sort of trying to follow in their footsteps. Clearly supposed to be Bob Dylan,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't use the name Bob Dylan, which is weird because they use a lot of other names of music from, around that time. But yeah, really what you like playing is weird ass fucking glam metal, really, really weird music, you know? That's what you like to play, but you feel like you have to be a folk singer or whatever. And then aliens come and you're performing for aliens. It's a whole thing.
It happens.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd say I'd recommend it to anybody. It's pretty. It's pretty, and it's the typical Annapurna game,
Sure.
you know? And sometimes that can be really great, and sometimes it just feels like the same thing over and over again.
Very artsy and self-serious.
Yeah.
Annapurna.
Yeah,
Yeah. This is not serious. There's a lot of comedy in there, you know? Jason Schwartzman's in the game, and I like him. He's a funny guy.
If Jason Schwartzman were going to be in the game, it would definitely be this one.
Yeah. So I played a little bit of that. And I started playing Vampire, and I really like it so far. I wish there were fewer dialogue options.
How are we on the Draculas? Are there good Draculas?
Yeah, I mean they're fine. It's like there's just too many dialogue options, and there's not, right? There's not too many. There's too many because I feel like I have to see as many of them as I can.
Sure.
That's why there's too many of them.
Yeah.
But like it's fun. The combat is fun.
So
I like the way the skill tree works.
I was
But
never
like
I was never sure of like what kind of game that was. Like, is it like an adventure? Is like a adventure game? Is it an action game? Like, what kind of game is it?
it's a third-person action game with
I
some
see.
RPG elements.
Okay.
There's RPG elements. It does some cool stuff in that like to level up, you have to kill people.
Yeah.
But like you get more experience based on like how much you know about the person.
Hmm.
So like you really
Okay.
get to know some of these people, and like you don't want to kill some of them because they're good people,
Yeah.
but if you do, you'll get more XP for it.
The hunger takes you.
And I thought that was a pretty neat way to like, yeah, I thought that was a pretty neat way of like tying in, you know, sucking blood, right? Like being a vampire.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool so far. I will say this: I know it's not, it doesn't have like the biggest budget. Overall, the game does look pretty good until you like get really close to the models, and then they just look like Sims people, which is fine, people. But
Yeah.
it's kind of just whatever. I downloaded the Mafia remake, but I haven't played it yet, and that's just kind of where I'm at right now. I'm super excited. I wish we were recording this tomorrow because Shredder's Revenge is out tomorrow.
Hell yeah, baby.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, we can.
Or not.
I mean, there's no law that says we can't record a little thing about Shredder's Revenge tomorrow.
No, I gotta go to work.
Oh.
You don't,
Well, do you?
you don't have to. You're choosing to.
That's true.
Everything is a choice, but that's the choice that allows him to buy Shredder's Revenge in the first place.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Pros and cons. What have you been playing?
Okay, so I'll try to be brief here. So I did start a second playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm very excited about doing that because I love that game so much. I'm playing it I'm playing it the exact same way I played it the first time, making the same choices I made the first time, and I don't care because I love Arthur. But actually, I'm doing more side stuff than I did the first time through. So I'm actually going through I finished.
You grow in more beards.
So I let his beard get a little long actually, and
Ooh.
yeah, and but there was this quest line that I didn't do the first time around where this guy, he's like, there's this famous gunslinger that I want to write a book about, but I don't know enough about him, so I have these other gunslingers that I know of, and you need to go talk to them and find out about him through them, and so I'm doing that. And like the first one is this lady named Black Belle, and she's like very cool. She has a proclivity for explosives, and she likes blowing up cops a lot. So she was pretty neat. But like the funny thing about it is none of the other gunslingers are willing to talk to Arthur. They're all like one of them is like, he was like this like reclusive drunk who spent all his time riding trains, and so you get on a train to find him, and he's like, oh no, you're someone who's here to kill me, and so he runs away, and then you corner him, and then he tries to kill you, so I had to kill him. And they all seem to have been ending like that, but I love playing that game, so I'm gonna do more of the side stuff. Also, I got to play a game called Rumbleverse last week.
Oh yeah.
So if you don't know, it is a battle royale with, instead of guns, you are using wrestling moves on each other. And
Yes.
and it's pretty neat so far. There's a lot of customization. I think that I'm having in my brief time with it, because they were doing a an open beta for like a day last weekend, and it's pretty cool conceptually, but like I've been having a lot of trouble with like executing the moves, and like the moves have like priority amongst one another. So if you're doing like if you're trying to do a strike and someone is trying to do a grab, then the grab will take priority. Or likewise, if they're doing a grab and you're holding a weapon, the weapon will take priority. And there's like more to it than that. There's like other moves that kind of interact that way. So I've been having trouble with that. But overall, I like the game quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it is when it finally comes out. Also, I started Ni no Kuni, and I'm really excited.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
Did you? Or did you
Huh?
didn't you play that already?
No, I've never played it. I'd never played it until recently.
I know we tried to sell you the game as it's a good
Yeah.
boy trying to do stuff for his mom,
So
and you liked that.
what no one told me is that like because like the way it was phrased is like he's trying to help his mom, which is technically true, but it omitted in what way he was trying to help her, and his mommy dies at the beginning of the game, and I was not ready for that, and I almost cried because I was not ready for his mom to be dead. But like, so that has been propelling me through the game because I'm like I
Your
want
tears?
yes, I want to see him. I want to see him be able to help his mom. So I'm not sure like what my initial idea was of that game and the way that combat goes in that game. I don't know that I was ever really familiar with it, but the whole thing with Oliver like getting like getting monsters and like throwing the monsters out there to fight for him, and then like Oliver and the monsters that fight for him share a health pool and everything. That I did not know about that, but it has the strategy involved with doing that has been like pretty fun to engage with. And so far I like it. I do really like it. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. It very much feels like I'm watching a movie at some points. But it's cool because it kind of blends together really well. And I think the last thing of note that I would say that I played two things. One was Bloodstained. I started playing Bloodstained for the first time. I'd never played it. The only Bloodstained that I'd played was that other thing. What was that thing called, Tom?
Curse of the Moon.
Curse of the Moon. I played that. I didn't play a whole lot of it. I don't know that I was really into it. But so far...
Man, I liked it better than Bloodstained proper.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny is that I hear that a lot. But I think also I never really had a real affinity for like those old like the old Castlevania. I never really had much affinity for that. But this is holding my interest so far. And the last thing I played was I played Everybody's Golf, and that is fun. I had not played a golf game in over a decade, but I'd heard a lot of good things about Everybody's Golf, and I'd played a Hot Shots game on the PSP like many years ago, and that was cool. But Everybody's Golf is it's more fun than I expected it to be. I don't play a lot of golf games, but this has been fun. I'm good at it also, as it turns out. Hole in one. Okay.
That's what they call you.
They call me Hole in One, or they also call me Homie Baloney. But yeah, that's been about it. That's pretty much all I've been playing.
Ryan, do you think you'll continue? Do you think you'll finish Ni no Kuni?
Yes, I do actually. See, I heard that it was I've heard that it's a decently long game, but I'm like really engaged with it. I like the characters a lot. I understand that like later on there are additional party members that you'll get. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how combat changes with that, because like up until now it's just been Oliver and his little fellers. So I'm interested in seeing more of that. Yeah, so I do think I'm gonna finish it. I did also because it was on sale for like really cheap and I didn't want to miss out. I picked up Ni no Kuni 2 for like $7.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I ask. And I'm somebody who's only played the first game,
Yeah.
and only some of the first game, you know.
Yeah.
But the series, it's weird, right? Like, so Level 5 puts out Ni no Kuni, uh, which I think originally on DS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets the PS3 game, which is the game that most people know. And then we don't see anything for a long, long time until Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah.
And then there's an anime, and then there's a free-to-play game, and like, I like Level 5 a lot, but like, I don't know what involvement they've had with these more recent projects,
Yeah.
but like, as an outsider, as somebody who hasn't experienced all those other things, I've heard from a lot of people that like Ni no Kuni peaks with that first game, and it's like all downhill from there.
Yeah, so I did give just a excuse me, because I had heard that Ni no Kuni 2 was different.
Yeah.
So I put like an hour into it just to see what the combat was like.
Yeah.
And it's definitely more of like it's definitely more action oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So and like some people and like I looked online to see how people felt about each one like respective to each other.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of split, honestly. And I do feel like I like them both. What I've played of both, I do feel like I like them both for like different reasons.
Sure.
And so I'm not sure how I feel about Ni no Kuni 2 yet because I haven't put a lot of time into it. But the one theme that I managed to get from both of them, and I don't know if this is just a Ni no Kuni like overarching theme, but there always seems to be a good-hearted, innocent little boy at the center of everything, and then people kind of gravitate toward around him because in Ni no Kuni 1 you're playing as a good-hearted little boy Oliver, and then Ni no Kuni 2 you're not playing as little boy Evan, you're more like his bodyguard. But he still seems to be the center of everything that's going on because he's the current king and people are trying to kill him. I don't know. I immediately have more of an emotional investment in Ni no Kuni 1 just because of the premise of that game. But we'll see how I feel about both of them when I'm done with them. You mentioned that mobile game, and that's kind of like I saw an ad for that online, and that was kind of the point where I was just like, I wonder if because I had always meant that got me to be like, I wonder if Ni no Kuni is on sale right now because I'd like to try that. And that's kind of the mobile game is kind of like what made me remember that game. So I don't know, we'll see, but it's cool. I think I'll finish it though.
It's one of the few games I still have a physical copy of.
Yeah, and we have a physical copy of Ni no Kuni 2 here. It's like a collector's edition, but like it's like it came with a little statue of the boy from that game. But I mean, I don't know what any of that stuff is. So
you lost the boy.
Yeah, I lost the boy. Also, last thing, I'm sorry, I just remembered that Resident Evil 2 got an update for current gen consoles, and so I checked that out yesterday. And I personally, as me personally, I don't really see much of a difference. I just, I don't know, maybe I'm just dumb like that. But that game was already awesome looking to begin with. And already played great to begin with, so I don't really notice a difference. But I was like,
I think you need the side by side,
Maybe. Well, there's in the when you start the game, they're like, do you want to play with ray tracing mode off or ray tracing mode on? And I went between the two, and so I could see the difference between both, and I know that there's a difference. But me, just personally speaking, like I already think that game's rad, and I'm not paying attention to that stuff anyway. I was like, this is an excuse to play Resident Evil 2 again. So, but I don't know. I think that like we keep seeing all these lately. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about like current gen updates or remakes, like, especially with
Bless you.
with the Last of Us remake and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not the guy that stuff is for, because I'm always just like, I don't know. I'll just play the game wherever.
It's funny, like, it's funny you say that, because I remember, like, a couple of years back, you saying that, like, frame rate didn't matter to you, you know, whereas nowadays you say that it very much matters to you. I wonder, like, with some of those games, clearly Resident Evil 2 is not the game to do it for you,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
We'll
see, and that's
but
it's so. Here's the thing about frame rate too, right? Is that like, it's hard to see the difference in frame rate if you're not, like, for me, it's hard for me to see the difference in frame rate if, like, I'm not immediately going from one to the other, right? So like I would play, I don't remember what game I was playing, but there was a game that I was playing that was like, that ran at like a constant 60 frames per second, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to play, at the time I was still playing through Yakuza 6, and Yakuza 6 runs at 30, right?
Yeah.
And so I would go from that game to playing Yakuza, and I'm like, man, this is hard to look at right now. Because, like...
See, and I also think it depends on the type of game, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like, we've had all these announcements this last week, and Capcom showed that Exo Primal gameplay, and I was like, just watching the video, I was like, this runs terribly.
Mm-hmm.
This is, at least in its current state, is running horribly, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't have to touch it to see that.
Sure.
But, like, you know, other games, like with this fucking PlayStation Plus service, all the PS3 games are still streaming because Sony had to go and buy Gaikai, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing that again, which I think this is now my third time streaming with PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
But my internet's better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. So I start playing, like, Eco and, like, Ratchet and Clank, and I can't tell. Playing those games feels completely fine to me, you know?
Sure. And
booted up Darkstalkers, and immediately I was like, yep, can't do this. You know?
It's weird.
This is a hard no.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, like, okay, so there are objective things that we can measure this stuff by, right? Like, there are things that can be measured, and things and observed that, like, that are objectively the case, right? But even still, some of it is, I do think that there's, like, a certain amount of it that is subjective in terms of, like, feel and experience. Like, some people can go from playing a 60 FPS game to a 30 FPS game or whatever, and, like, it doesn't affect them. Like, my wife Kaylee's like that. Like, she claims not to be able to perceive the difference, and, like, that sounds great to me. But for me, like, I'm just like it's very jarring to go from one to the other. Or if I'm playing a game that runs at a specific frame rate, I'm just like, man, if this game were a little bit smoother, I feel like I would be having a much better time with it.
Right. But again, it depends on the game, right?
Yeah. And,
like, if you think about, like, every turn-based Final Fantasy, like every 3D turn-based Final Fantasy, the battles, while the game might run at 30 to 60, the battles themselves run between, like, 15 and 20. You know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
Because I think that, like, when it comes down to it, and I think that, like, that's why, you know, we don't, when we're just watching something passively, we don't really mind, because we don't have hands on it, and, like, we don't know how it feels. But, like, there are games that, like, I have that I've kind of wanted to revisit, that I don't really feel like I can play anymore. Yeah. Like I tried to go back to play. I never finished Lords of the Fallen, right? But at the time I did enjoy that game when I first got it. But I tried to go back to it, and I'm just like, man, this game is really, especially for a game that it is a Souls-like, so there's a lot of timing and rhythm that goes along with playing games like that. And I'm just like, this is too hard for me now. Like, I can't, like, my eyes and my brain cannot, like, sync up.
And it's that, right? It is that. It's your eyes and your brain, right? Because, like, you think about, like the frames, you know, the frames of what takes priority in those games, in most action games, whether it be a Souls game or something else, it's not like like you're not doing one frame links in those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, it might put you off.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I don't know. I think that like at a certain point, I think these are things that'll be like less of a going concern as time goes on. But revisiting older games is like specifically revisiting older 3D games has been a little bit of a challenge for me, which has kind of been bumming me out a little bit because like I want to play these games, but like I feel like I just can't. Now, if I kind of bridge that with like, well, I'm gonna stop playing games for like an hour and I'm gonna watch some TV. So I watch TV and like most stuff is like at 24 frames per second. Then I'm just like, okay, this works. Now it works because now by comparison, this feels nice and smooth. But you know, that's just me though.
For me, it's more of a control thing, right? Like I tried playing Siphon Filter because it's like one of the fucking PS1 games that they have now, you know? And like, man, I cannot play through a whole game controlling it like that. It's not going to happen.
I looked at those. I went through and looked at those PS1 games, and I looked specifically at the games that I have like a lot of like childhood memories with, like Siphon Filter and Ape Escape. And I looked at those games, and I'm just like, man, it's funny the way like time can like kind of play with how things like look to you. Because I remember, like, I looked at the screenshots for Siphon Filter and Ape Escape, and I was like, this did not look like this when I was 11.
And what's funny is you're right. It actually looked worse than that when you were 11.
Yeah.
You know,
but like, well, see, that's the thing is that like you remember it looking better than that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And like for me, it's not even that. Like I'm somebody that's totally fine with aged early polygonal graphics.
Sure.
You know,
does
not bother me at all. But just like controlling a game like that, can't do it anymore.
And I think that Siphon Filter was pre-Dual Shock.
Yeah.
So
you know, some of the other stuff on there, like Ape Escape, controls fine. I'm fine with it even now.
Yeah.
Jumping Flash, it's fine. You know, but like, not Siphon Filter. Can't do it. Have to wait for those PS2 and PSP Siphon Filters to be back on there.
Yeah. What's up, Shanee?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot.
Nice.
And it's kind of like funny, like Tommy talking about how he's getting burned out on ARPGs because I'm still playing on it. I've been but I've been playing so many otome games, and I think I finally hit like my stopping point. I've played a good portion of them that are on the Switch. I've been mainly playing the Switch.
Yeah.
So I told you about how I played Olympus Foray, and it was like cornier than I was expecting, but I wasn't like the most mad at it. And then I went back and tried to replay Finish Code Realize and also Steam Prison, and both of those were such a slog. And I realized that like I am not like really at the point right now where I want like super story heavy otome games. Like before I just didn't have like a whole lot of time, and then I had some deaths in the family, and then there was like traveling and like all this stuff, and I was just like, you know, I just want nice stuff. I just want nice things. I want goofy stuff.
That's all anyone ever really wants, you know? Some nice stuff.
Yeah.
I just want and goofy. Not everyone necessarily wants goofy. So
yuck.
I played 2 games that came out in like the last 6 months. One of them is Cupid Parasite, and
that's a cool name.
I don't like that name.
Yeah, so like all the love interests, so like they call them like the parasites, and they all have like something very wrong with them. They are walking.
Been there, you know.
Yeah, there's like there's the obsession parasite. He's like obsessed with like mythology. There is like the thieving parasite. Like he only will date other people's like wives and girlfriends. Uh, there is there's like the lovelorn parasite who's like still in love with his college girlfriend or college roommate. Didn't even date her. So like every girl like has like no chance of them, and like you are actual Cupid, and you got in a fight with your dad. So you like went to Earth and were like, I can make love happen without my arrows. So you go work at a matchmaking service, and all these guys are like part of it.
Yeah.
But they're just like the worst of the worst, and it's so funny. Like I've never played an otome this funny because it's making fun of the entire genre, and they are just like a lot of them do try like. So there's like some that are just like really story heavy, and there's kind of like romance just like in there, and you'll see it in the last couple chapters. And there's some that like are like slice of life, like school life ones where it's just like, oh, like you're getting crushes in like high school. But like normally in most of them, like they have to have like a reason why he's single and not married. So there's like something kind of wrong with him. And then like but like they don't necessarily talk like they don't just blatantly like say the love interest is a fucking terrible person and asshole.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
I've been
was
there,
super
you know.
fun. Yeah, that was super fun. And then I played another one called Variable Barricade, and that one had like a board game element to it. And that's how you like moved and progressed through the story, which is something I've never come across, and I don't think I would like that in like a lot of otome games, but I wouldn't mind like a couple more in that do that thing because it felt like because like when you're going through the otome games, it's just like a book, like it's like but it's one where you don't necessarily like depending on how their interfaces, you don't necessarily know how long in the story you are. And you don't know like as you go through which chapters will have CGs unless you do walkthroughs. But this one, it's like places on the board. So like when you finish a section of the story, it's like, oh, this cleared. And then depending on your answers at the end of like, there's like multiple boards that you go through, and depending on your answers at the end, like if you have done like certain answers where you're not going towards like the romance option, like you'll have like a little battle between like little chibi versions of like you and the love interest. And it's like just like a lot of cute things like that that I've just never seen before. And that was super fun. I tried a bunch of like ports from mobile games. Like I tried Ephemeral and I tried Gakuen Club. And I realized that like like I don't want to say they're not good. They're not for me. Because one of the things that I do like about mobile otome games versus like console or PC is that they will continue to pump out stories for them.
Yeah,
because it's like because normally like there's like some sort of like microtransaction feature in there.
Oh.
So they just keep putting out content and different like seasonal stuff to get you to give them money.
I mean, that's how the best stories are written, you know?
But sometimes it's like nice because like you don't have to stop if you like something. You can get more of it.
No, I feel you, yeah.
But with it, sometimes it's just like trash because they're just trying to make money. And
Yeah.
so I was trying to play both of them. I got like maybe an hour into each, and I was just like, I cannot at all with this story. It's so like none of it interests me. It's so like just transparent. And maybe it's the games I picked. But Ephemeral has like a bunch of like good reviews, so I was kind of surprised. And like those games are like really what like kind of like I was like I'm done. Like everything else that's like out right now. I was looking at the reviews. Everyone says like they're all super story heavy. I'm like I just want cute, nice fluff if I'm going to play like otomes. So then I started downloading like demos of like other games because I was like I forgot how fun like demos can be. So I got it and then I ended up buying it, but I got Card Shark, which is
already out?
Yeah.
What is Card Shark?
I didn't know that. It's a Devolver published game.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it except you're playing poker, right?
Kind of. So there's like cards games going, but it's kind of like so in the beginning like somebody else is playing and like you are like a servant, like you work at this like bar tavern thing, and so this guy earlier in the day like hires you to like pour drinks for his like table, and so he like you help him cheat, and you have to do like certain motions to like give clues and stuff. So like you're going through trying to like cheat essentially in card
Interesting.
trick.
That's pretty
And
cool.
yeah, and so there's like the art style is like really cool. It definitely reminds me of like
Flash games.
uh no, I was gonna say Dungeon, Darkest Dungeon, but like
Oh, I can
obviously
see
not
that.
as dark, like not the
Although
color
that
palette,
also
but
kind of reminds me of a Flash game too.
yeah, no, but like I was like okay, I'll get down with the art style. It's just like a different color palette, but like very similar art style to that. I also the new Square game Triangle Strategy.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I've heard a lot about that. Is that any good?
triangle face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that like I'm just in like the headspace to play that because like it definitely reminded me of other games I liked in that genre. But I got like 20 minutes into it and I was just like, meh, I'm done.
Well, I remember you really liked
Bravely Default.
Bravely Default, right? And same developers.
Yeah.
So
No,
Uh,
I
is it like a similar kind of game or no?
yeah, it's like similar vein to like
rock
Golden
paper scissors.
Sun,
Mm.
Bravely Default, all
Okay.
that. But the thing that I have been talking, I told y'all about, but also been doing the most is Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes. It's so good. It's
You
so
know,
good.
when you first told me about that, Shanae, I was like, okay, I know Shanae's probably playing this demo multiple times because you played the last Fire Emblem game. I know it wasn't a Musou, but you played the last proper Fire Emblem game like 50 fucking times, right?
Yeah.
So
So
I was like,
close.
you remember how like
Poor
Resident
number.
Evil for a while was putting out those one-shot demos?
Yeah.
I was like, man, I wish that demo was like that, where Shanae could only play it the once.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's like they take a lot of the elements like the like kind of like visual novel elements that I liked of
Hmm.
Fire Emblem and put it to there. And I never played Hyrule Warriors. I wasn't really like super interested, but
Hmm.
now that I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Hopes demo, I now really kind of want to go back and play Hyrule Warriors.
Play the second Hyrule
Um,
Warriors, not the first one.
well, because like the thing, because it's like one of the last like Musa games that they made with like the Nintendo IP. There,
Yeah.
a lot of people are comparing the demo for this, or even reviewers who have played the full game already, to the Hyrule Warriors games, and they say that
Yeah.
the Hyrule Warriors ones are faster. And I don't necessarily know in what context they mean, if they just mean the actual combat, or if it's like the story because there's like the way you can buff stuff, you can still cook, and you still like go and interact with them in between like doing battles.
Yeah.
Uh, and also like the way it's very similar in the way that you direct units, depending on who you are, to like the Fire Emblem games. And it's been so long since I've played a Muso. It's been like a decade since I played like a Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah, and Dynasty
And
Warriors did adopt that. Like, I remember whenever the first Vita one came out, it was that, you know? Uh, but, like, so Hyrule Warriors 1 feels very much like old Dynasty Warriors. Hyrule Warriors 2 is built in the same engine that they used for Breath of the Wild, right? And it uses a lot of the same assets. It continues, or I think it's a prequel to that story, and there's just more going on there. Which
okay,
is why I think these later Nintendo Musos are doing well, you know, because they're not just that. Like I was so psyched for
would
that
you
Berserk Muso, and I was like, yeah, this is just Fire Emblem or Fire or Dynasty Warriors again, you know.
uh would you say that it's like should I at least like Google the story of the first Hyrule Warriors game before I played the second one?
No, it's not canon at all, and it's a bunch of shit that doesn't really matter. Like, if you're a Zelda fan, there's things to like there, for sure, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of its own thing. Now, what sucks about it is, like, they could use that to explain their new convoluted Zelda timeline, right?
Yeah.
They could have used the first Fire Emblem, Hyrule Warriors to explain it, but they came out and said, no, it's non-canon and all this and that. Whereas the second one, I believe, is canon.
I mean, why have simple story when you can have complex?
Yeah, well, also, if you want to play as Linkle, you got to play the first one, Linkle.
Is that Lady Link?
Mr. Linkleman. Yeah.
I'm gonna look her up.
So with Fire Emblem Three Hopes, it's not like a continuation. It's kind of like an alternate universe to the that. And so I like that they did that because it definitely feels because you like also get like a time skip in the demo that you can see. So there's going to be one in the game too, which I liked, and like you interact with like some of your favorite characters in like a different way, and there's like a lot of staff members that I just like never used in the in Three Houses because like I was like, man, I'm gonna level up these guys better than you so quickly. So like, but like yeah, it's just like it's like hanging out with friends again that you haven't seen in a while. It's really nice.
Does it explain like why characters from different times are in the same game?
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't know if I necessarily know like fully what your question is, but I don't think so.
Well, because like there's Three Houses characters in there, right? But like the reveal trailer for that game was fucking Crom from what was it? The 3DS one that did really well.
Awakening,
yeah.
That's a good name.
What?
Crom.
Is it Awakening or there's another 3DS one?
That's Awakening. Yeah, there's several 3DS ones. But,
yeah, that's true.
It is Awakening. Yeah, Crom.
Yeah. I like that name.
Like that was the first trailer they showed for that game was Crom.
I didn't watch any of the trailers. I didn't even know that this was coming out.
Unless this is the second one. Did they do 2 Fire Emblem Warriors games?
I don't think so. I think this is the first one.
If this is the only one, then yeah.
Well, it's like an alternate universe thing, so I don't necessarily that they have to. Like,
sure.
They could just throw them in there and not have any explanation. But I'll have to like look into that further, and also when the game comes out, like find out what that is. But yeah, so like that's been really fun. I really like the main character is so like in the demo because I didn't watch any of the trailers, so I had seen titles about a Fire Emblem game, but I didn't know necessarily what it was. Like I didn't look further into it because it would always pop up when I was like looking for something else. I'm like, no, I gotta focus. But yeah, so like in the beginning, like you play as this character Shez, and like you see Byleth, and they call him or her like the Ashen Demon, and it's like the very first part, like you're playing against them, but like whatever you named it in your like if you have like you play the original the first one, whatever you named Byleth in that one, it'll like ask you if you want to like name Byleth that this time.
Yeah,
you could change it, but I forgot that I named Byleth Butt.
That's funny. This week I named the character Butt.
So I named Shez Butt 2.0. But yeah, it's very fun. Like of course, like a lot of Musos, there's not like a lot of like necessarily nuance in the gameplay because you're essentially pressing the same like 2 to 3 buttons.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I forgot like how fun just like mindlessly doing that can be, and the aspect of trying to like get S rank and everything, and then like direct all of you guys to be independent, but also like realizing because I was playing all of it on like the hardest difficulty it has, and so the first time I tried to kind of play like the demo a little bit, I was like, oh, I forgot how easy this can be. Let's bump this up.
Look at you.
Yeah, I know.
Billy Badass over here.
Oh yeah, and it's just like the animations for the things like once I bumped it up a bit, I once I bumped it to the hard difficulty,
Pump it up.
Because bump it up.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, but I was like, now I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, man.
Okay, I felt like a lot cooler when I was doing the moves because I felt like they had more weight to them. And as like you like went through and it like unlocked more stuff, and then like as you got more characters in a variety of play styles, that was fun seeing them do the different moves and playing as them. I don't know if this is just the demo or if this is how the game's going to be, but like so you pick your characters that you're going to take on the fight with you. And you can like position them and like all that jazz. But like no matter how many that you pick with there, depending on each map, is like a different number that you can. Like there's just like 4 that you can play as, and with the demo, like it picked which 4 like you were going to be playing as. Like it couldn't be like, oh, I want to like have like 2 of them over here and pick like one character of the 2 to like have as your thing. So I don't know if this is going to like change in the main game or not. I kind of hope it does because there's times where I'm like. Because there's times where I'm like, I don't give a shit what this character is doing. I told him to do the thing.
Or at the very least, you know what most of them do now that I've played in recent years? Is that, like, you'll have to play through that mission with a set character or set characters, but the second time you play it, you can do whatever you want, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But, so, doing that, that comes out the 24th. I'm very excited. And then also, it's kind of funny that you brought up Annapurna because there's another game I got that I thought was an Annapurna game, but it was what's their name again? Because I just like kind of like read it briefly, and then of course on the Switch it's just like it was like a white color above it, but it's AKU Para, so Akupara. So I thought it was Annapurna because I saw A and P and an A. So I was like, all right, yeah. I was like, read fast. But behind the frame, it's like a painting adventure game. It looks
like Layers of Fear.
I never played Layers of Fear, so I can't like speak upon that.
You have played Layers of Fear, Shanee. You know how I know?
Oh yeah, I did.
Because that was the biggest gasket you ever blew was while we were playing that game.
I forgot about No, you're right. I blocked that from my memory because I don't like getting mad.
Because Tommy was chastising you about your lack of knowledge about combination locks.
It's not my strong suit. But yeah, it's like it looks like an Annapurna game. It kind of reminds, it's very like kind of dreamy, not necessarily pastels, but very like muted colors. So I assumed it was, but it was really good, and so I would suggest it. If it's like a $14 game, maybe probably. No, I think with tax it was like $14.
You played it. This is on Switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what other consoles it's on, but I played it on Switch. It's pretty good. I was looking at their other library once I realized it wasn't Annapurna, and so they have like a bunch of other none of the games that I saw were like more than $20, but it has a bunch of other games that looked pretty like fun and cute if you're looking for like a time, like just a very casual like play for 10 minutes before you go to bed game. So an Annapurna game. It's very similar. So on that front, so I played that, and then I am excited, and so I honestly almost downloaded Resident Evil 4.
Hell yeah, baby!
And, like a week ago.
Yeah.
And then
you should do that.
And then when you brought up the other day the Capcom showcase, and I looked and I saw it's going to get a remake.
Yeah.
I was like, oh well, I'm glad I didn't buy it. I'm still waiting for that remake to come out.
No, dude, you got to play the original.
Different games, man.
Yeah. Leon's still hot in the original version.
Different games.
Yeah, he's still hot.
Wait, is it going to be a completely different game?
I mean, I would assume it's going to be a remake in the same way that 1, 2, and 3 were remade.
Yeah.
Where they are actually different games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's just going to be like an improvement to textures and frame rates and shit. I think it will actually be a remake. Yeah,
they're
You're
gonna
probably
make it
right.
on
It's not a
hotter,
remaster. It's like that.
right.
All right. So I should buy
Maybe
Resident Evil
give 'em a
4
beard.
for like the fourth time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it has the number 4 in it. It means I should buy it 4 times.
Sure. Yeah. And,
I'm pretty sure I've already bought it 4 times.
yeah, and it's always on sale, like super cheaps.
Yeah.
It's like $20 when I was looking at it on the Switch.
Oh, Gort.
But I was thinking either that or finally getting KOTOR again. But I was thinking getting on the Switch, but I didn't know how well it ran on it. And so
I'm sure it runs fine.
Well,
it's a fucking Xbox game, like an old Xbox game, you know?
Well, there's like some games that you'd be surprised don't like run super well on the Switch,
true.
but that like run a lot better on other consoles or like the PC.
You know,
so I was.
Oh, for sure, it's better on PC.
Well, you know, some games can be poorly optimized on some platforms and better optimized on others, but like,
yeah.
You know, did you guys hear that they're dropping DLC for KOTOR 2? Not wild? I love when people do that. I love when there's like suddenly new DLC for old ass games. I don't know why, but I like that.
Like they're doing with that fucking re-release of JoJo.
And they did that with
Yes.
that Kingdoms of Amalur too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That game rules.
Speaking of DLC, they also like on the. I saw that they did the Resident Evil Villages DLC for.
Oh yeah.
That showcase.
Now you can play as that lady everybody's horny about. Are they still horny about her? I don't know.
I never played Resident Evil Villages, so I don't know. But I mean,
you didn't.
There's a lady. There's a lady. Someone's horny for her.
I don't. It's wild that you missed this, Shanee. But like, there was there's some 8-foot tall lady in Resident Evil Village.
Is that the sexy vampire lady?
I mean, she's I don't know. I don't know if she's a vampire lady, and I don't know that I would ascribe the label sexy to the lady, but she's there, and people were talking about how much they wanted to be stepped on by her and choked by her and all this. That lady brought the freak out of everybody, I'd say. But now you can play as her.
One of my coworkers, we were all in like a Zoom thing talking about the games, and she was playing it, and so was like another friend, Adriana, and they were both talking about how sexy a character was. So I'm assuming it's her.
Yeah, I don't I don't get it, but you know, it's fine.
And then also I didn't know, and I don't know why nobody ever mentioned this to me ever. By the way, talking about this with the Switch, back to that like putting it in airplane mode will like significantly improve the battery life, at least on the Switch, like the older Switch that I have. It's so much better.
That thing has an airplane mode?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Because it was like, so I was running out of battery, like playing just otome games, like 2 hours, like 2 to 3 hours. And I was like, this just feels like it shouldn't be going this quickly. And so I tried like taking because it always charges the Joy-Cons if it's attached to it. I was like, I wonder how much battery these things are pulling. Mm-hmm. So I started like trying to take them off, but I was playing a lot in my lap and had like something on the TV. So I was just like slightly like taking them off, but like still having them there so I can like hold them all. Like it was just like awkward. It was super awkward. Like
that's funny.
Like it was seriously just like this. Like it was just like just barely off of it to where I wouldn't read it. And so I was trying to see like there and like practicing. And I looked it up online, and they're like, yeah, no, just turn on airplane mode because it still uses like Bluetooth and like all these other features like when you have it off. So like having them unplugged like really doesn't affect the battery of the life of the Switch, and they don't like pull that much power. But yeah, so airplane mode. It gave me at least another hour.
You know.
So.
My thing, the one thing that always bothered me about the Switch is I could never play a game that I wanted to play while I was downloading another game because it would stop the download because the game is like if you're playing a game that has any network features in it, then the download's gonna stop. So you got to stop that, and so It always really bothered me.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that's the case for me, but also I don't really play any games on the Switch that need like network features.
Oh yeah, I play a lot of Monster Hunter, so that's probably it.
Yeah, no, I was like, that's not the case. I was like, when you said that, I was like, oh, that makes sense because like
Yeah,
I don't, I don't, I didn't need the internet to play Card Shark or Cupid Parasite.
yeah.
So, yeah. But I'm really excited, like I said, for Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm super stoked for that. I'm also pretty stoked for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Um,
So
looking for yeah.
what is okay? So I know that because I don't know a whole lot about the Pokemons. I know that the last Pokemon game was like a semi-open world thing, and like
Yeah, Arceus.
yeah, you were down there. You were there in the thick of it with your Pokemons while they fought
Into
the
the
other
thick of it.
Pokemons. Is that this? Is this like the same thing? Are they doing that again, or is this like more like the other Pokemons?
So as far as so it's like the other Pokemons. It's
Okay,
more like a yeah
I
traditional
mean,
style.
it's a mainline Pokemon, you know?
I see.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the same as it's been since the Game Boy,
I
you
see.
know?
I see.
Which is slight, but with new ones and new
Yeah.
regions and slight differences,
I know that
and people
I know the
people either love
Pokemon's
it or hate it.
I know the Pokemon's move when they fight now. So, there's
I
that.
mean, they did before, but different. But
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for some like a lot of Otome games that are coming out this year,
I
and
looked up that variable barricade game, Shanae, and that game's like 50 fucking bucks, man.
oh yeah, no. I've been buying expensive Otome
Like
games.
what the
I don't.
fuck?
I don't think I don't. Besides like the mobile ports, I don't think I've bought any recently that are less than $30.
Holy shit.
Shanee's not fucking around, all right?
Yeah. I mean,
No. I'm I'm, I'm playing these bastards.
these
Yeah. No.
bastards.
No. I have the most expensive of boyfriends.
Sure. Shanae, like I know people
$30.
It's also like $54.
I know people who like they enjoy like the occasional visual novel, but I have never seen someone who plays them like just so avidly the way that you do. It's very interesting to
I
me.
There's dozens of them, Ryan.
well, I'd say at least 100.
Man. So how many Otome would you say you play a year, Shanae?
Oh, it depends on the year. Like it goes in waves, like in and out. Like sometimes,
Yeah, it
and
does.
sometimes it's like, but like it hasn't really been besides like the occasional like mobile one, really
Yeah.
here and there for like a while because I didn't have the Vita, and that was like the last like big heyday. And so like I'd say probably like 2015, 2016, I was playing a lot of them. Well, probably 2012 to 2015, 16, a lot of them on the PC. And then I just kind of like stopped and played it every now and then, like a mobile one. And then, yeah, it's just like there's so many games that were like available on the Vita that are now coming to the Switch. So it's just, and then like a lot of them on the Vita, they also like were fan discs that were made. Uh, like a lot of those fan discs are now getting bought over and
Yeah.
like ported over into the Switch. A lot of the Vita, like, and there's like a lot of Vita games that like were also available on the PC, but there was like extra content that was available in the Vita version. So I never played those. So I'm about to buy once it drops an Otome that for the third time
Wow.
because it now has new stuff in it,
I see.
and I need that new stuff.
I
And
have a buddy who reads about 50 books a year, and I'm imagining you doing that, but with Otome. That's 50 romances a year. Just loving them.
each one normally has between 3 to 5 love interests, and then depending on the game, like 1 to 2 serial ones.
Yeah.
So let's just say like 4 to 6 on average. There's some that only have like 2 love interests, but yeah.
Those are
So I mean,
the weak ones. You need the strong ones. You need the big
yeah.
roster.
So I say like I'm hoping to hit like 60 to 70 boyfriends by the end of the year.
Sure.
Uh,
You're a stud,
uh,
Shanee.
yeah, I am.
Did you get around to checking out that boyfriend dungeon game yet?
No, I haven't. I've been playing my very expensive boyfriend games.
Oh.
And that one's not $50, so I can't play it.
Sure. That's a broke people's game.
I do have a wish list, and yeah, no, I do have it on a wish list. But yeah, I think that like I said, I think for a while though I'm gonna step back. And it's pretty like it's just like really good timing for Fire Emblem come out on there. On there for that, and yeah, like I've been playing a lot. Though I will say, so I had a flight real quick because I know we need to wrap it up soon. But I was playing Cupid Parasite whenever I was flying to another state to go to a funeral, and I was like really into the story, but I was like playing the thieving one, and he like just tries like anybody that's like married or has like a boyfriend, he just tries to seduce them. So there's like a lot of that in the story route. And so like every flight I was like I was in like the last boarding classes. So I only had middle seats, and I was like I'm not like I was like I normally am not like embarrassed to say that I play these games, but I don't want the people around me to see the story that I'm playing right now.
Why? You think, like you're not some kind of filthy pervert?
It felt like I was a pervert. It felt like I was playing a bad game.
Playing porn next to some stranger.
I've been there while like reading a comic on a plane.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it felt awkward.
I don't want people seeing all of this, you know?
Yeah, I was like...
Reading your filthy skin mags.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
It's hentai. Bringing it on the plane. Yeah, so I was like, I'm just going to sleep.
Sure, and dream about them boys.
Yeah, but, yeah, no. I think I've been playing more games in 2022 than I've played in a long time. I was doing The Witcher. I replayed a bunch of PC games I had. I've bought so many games on the otome on the Switch. I just think of it as the otome giver now.
Sure.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice reconnecting with old genres and like getting really into them again. It's nice that like I've been playing Arceus a bit too. Like it's nice that like just IP that I've liked is like getting new games, and yeah, it's just exciting. And I guess I also got now buy Resident Evil 4 since the remake's not going to be a remaster. Like, and I don't know why my brain immediately assumed, but yes.
And Leon's still hot in the old one, like I said. So number one reason.
I don't want him to be my boyfriend. I have enough. I don't need him.
By the end of that game, you'll change your mind.
Probably.
Yeah.
Give me enough red flags and I'll want him.
Cool.
It's like you try about horny ones. The one that I'm really excited about and I'm going to buy for the third time. It's called Amnesia, and it's like the one that like one of the ending options is one of the love interests just puts you in a cage and keeps you in it.
Wait, this isn't the Amnesia this is not the horror game Amnesia. This is love game Amnesia.
Yeah, he's talked about it a few times.
Okay.
Yeah, Amnesia, the one you must recall.
Oh, right.
That's Nameless, the one you must recall. But Amnesia Memory.
I'm getting confused.
Yeah. There's a yeah. But
okay.
Yeah.
Explosive amnesia.
Do y'all have any closing thoughts or anything that you're excited about that you want to mention?
I'm excited for Street Fighter 6.
Hell motherfucking yes. I've watched that trailer 15
brother.
fucking times, and I get very hype every single time. That game's gonna fucking rule. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna be very angry with Tom.
So I'm excited about the new drive system. I think that looks really awesome.
Yes.
I think if you're like a fan of either, Alpha 2 or CVS 2, like it kind of takes from those games, but like you have those options mid-fight, and that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I like the new look of it. And hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna be
I'm
good.
excited for Diablo 4. Hopefully that's good too.
Yeah.
I'm worried about it, but I hope it's good.
Yeah. Better fucking be.
How about you, Ryan? Excited for more Arthur?
Actually, yeah. Like I'm excited for more Arthur, and like I like playing that game. I like being in that world, and Arthur is cool. I wish he was my dad, but
Unfortunately, he's not.
Yeah. Well, he died about 100 years before I was born. So, oops, spoilers. Anyway, no, I just I'm excited. Like Tom mentioned Street Fighter 6, and like whenever like people talk about games that I'm looking forward to, like it's like I can't. It's hard for me to think of any game other than that game. Like 'cause that's kind of just really.
It's nice to see like the FGC in general excited about a Capcom fighting game again.
Yeah, and it's just I'm gonna watch that. Actually, I'm gonna watch that trailer again in a little bit. So, yeah, that's basically it. Oh, and no, that's it. That's it.
Well, I already talked about things that I'm excited for. If you want to see our beautiful faces, we also put this podcast on the YouTube, so we're also on most podcast apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Podcasts.
You got it.
That was a tough one for me, but thank you. I appreciate the support.
Man, that made me think of PopCap, Ryan. Remember when PopCap was good?
Yeah, they
God,
made your favorite game.
I'm trying to end the show here, guys.
Peggle,
Guys,
Yeah.
Plants vs. Zombies,
guys,
Bookworm.
guys.
Okay.
We're on Stitcher. we're on the Google Plays. We're on the iTunes. You can find us. We're on the Spotify's. And we have a Discord. And bye, guys.
Bye.
See you later, homie balonies.